Welcome to Portland, Oregon on a chilly but right now dry February evening as soccer returns to the Rose City, the Portland Timbers opening match of their annual preseason tournament. It's the Timbers versus Real Salt Lake from Providence Park. Well, good evening and welcome up to our broadcast booth above the pitch here at Providence Park. I'm Jake Sivan alongside Ross Smith. This is quite simply the first time in 2017 that Timber supporters here in Portland will be able to see what their club looks like heading into this regular season. And Ross, it's one that is deeper and younger than the 2016 team, which didn't make the playoffs.
It's been a busy offseason for the Portland Timbers organization, and signings coming with MLS experience, signings coming from outside the league, and signings graduates from the T2 USL Timbers into the first team. And I think there's a lot of excitement about these new faces coming into town, particularly Sebastian Javinko, David Guzman, players who are expected to come in and have a big impact.
Well, Sebastian Blanco, the Timbers hope he has an impact like Sebastian Javinko did in Toronto. The new designated player for the Timbers, 28 years old from Argentina, played with San Lorenzo most recently. He will make his Timbers debut tonight here at Providence Park. Joined the team in Tucson towards the end of their time down there, did not play in any of those 3 games down there, but the Timbers are getting a guy that is talented and that they expect to contribute right away.
Well, his resume certainly ticks all the boxes, and with him coming into this team, immediately you can put the Timbers attack on paper in the conversation as one of the best attacks in this league. You look how it complements Darlington Nagbe, Fernando Adi, Diego Valeri in that team. I think Sebastian Blanco coming into this side, I think there's a lot of expectations with him coming in as a DP signing, and so you expect him, we'll see him tonight, 45 minutes, you expect him to have a big impact, a big feature in this team.
And David Guzman paired in the defensive midfield with Diego Chara as a number 6. Yeah. That's a big addition as well. He played for Saprissa, who the Timbers saw and lost to in the CONCACAF Champions League last year, but his insertion into the roster alongside Diego Chara allows Chara to have maybe a more attacking role, another big addition to this team, David Guzman.
Yeah, and what you said there about Chara, how his role will change. We saw it near the tail end of the season last year where Diego Chara will play more of that number 8 role where he can get in front of the back 4 and protect them, but also join in the attack and really transition, get the attack, get the pace going with it. But you look at what Guzman, what he's done early on in this preseason, getting on the ball and trying to pick passes, just trying to dink him over the midfield. He is one that will get on that ball more and really link up play between the Timbers backline midfield going forward.
That is David Guzman, built like a tank. Earlier you saw Sebastian Blanco. This is not just our first chance to see the Portland Timbers as they're set up in heading into 2017, but also a Western Conference rival, always a fierce matchup when the Timbers play Real Salt Lake, and it is a different look RSL side. Javier Morales no longer there pulling the strings. We'll give you their lineup, a rundown of what RSL looks like this season. Timbers starting 11 as well after the national anthem, sung tonight by Madison Shanley.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, the regular season still about 3.5 weeks away, but there is a nice little buzz, a nice energy in Providence Park tonight. Timbers supporters waiting to see the debut of that man, Sebastian Blanco, their newest designated player. He is in the starting 11 tonight. As Ross mentioned, we expect 45 minutes, one half from Sebastian Blanco. We expect 60 minutes from the rest of this starting 11, the familiar 4-2-3-1.
The 4-2-3-1, as you're saying, Guzman, we talked about, his role will be more that number 6, where he'll sit in front of the back four. Back four comprise Ridgewell, the captain of the Timbers. Lawrence Olam, who's come back to the Portland Timbers, had a spell 2007, 2008. He's come back from Sporting Kansas City. He'll sit in beside Ridgewell. Alvis Powell, Vites on the left back. Jara, Guzman will sit in there. Valeri, Nagby, Blanco across that midfield. That attack looking to support up there with Darren Maddox, who's filling in for Fernando Adi. Has a tight hamstring tonight, just being a bit overcautious, not want to take any chances putting him in.
That's the starting 11 for Caleb Porter, entering his 5th season as Timbers head coach. His counterpart on the RSL bench, Jeff Gassar, entering his 4th year in charge and putting out a lineup with some regulars, guys that we expect to see when RSL comes to town. Most notably, of course, the goalkeeper, the most decorated goalkeeper in MLS history, Nick Rimando. But as I mentioned briefly, the glaring omission on this lineup is there's no Morales. Javier Morales, for the first time in a decade, not part of this Real Salt Lake team. They have a new designated player, Albert Rusnak, starting at that number 10 spot.
Rusnak, he's come across from the Dutch league. A lot is being expected of him to fill that void of Morales and even Burrito Martinez. With him coming in there, you expect him to be that attacking player and that flair alongside Movsisien and João Plata. Those three, I think RSL are going to be heavily dependent on to make sure attacking-wise they're dangerous.
Albert Rusnak, 22 years old. He's Slovakian, a member of the Slovakia national team, played most recently in the Netherlands. He's had a lot of success, a young player, again, just 22 years old, of course, young for a designated player, but a guy with a big burden on his shoulders to replace Javier Morales, one that Salt Lake expects a lot of this season. Diego Valeri and the Portland Timbers getting ready. There is Caleb Porter, entering his 5th season. Darren Maddox will start up top at the number 9 spot for the Timbers tonight. You can see the red hair. He'll be easy to spot out there on the pitch. The Timbers and Real Salt Lake finished 2016 just 2 points apart. It was enough for Salt Lake to make the playoffs. The Timbers, of course, missed out on the final day. They've been open about the disappointment of that. Caleb Porter said, we don't necessarily need a hard reset after that. They don't want to forget what got them to the 2015 MLS Cup title, but still a lot to learn from last year. Stoika Soren is our referee here in the opening match for the Timbers in their 2017 preseason tournament. We are underway, Portland and Real Salt Lake from Providence Park. Lawrence Olam, acquired last week in a trade with Sporting Kansas City, starting tonight alongside Liam Ridgewell. Bombs it forward. Here's Darlington Nagbe, his first time playing for the Timbers in this preseason. Didn't join the team in Tucson, of course, because he was with the U.S. national team, where he certainly impressed. Here is Olam. Big switch. He was trying to find Nagbe. Instead, it was right to the rookie right back, Regan Dunk, for Salt Lake.
Well, so much has been talked about Darlington Nagbe in that left wing position. Caleb Porter has been strong with his comments coming out saying, this is where I want him. It's where we've seen the highest amount of production from him playing on that left-hand side. I was so impressed with him, Jake. The U.S. men's national team, his first starting cap for the men's national team when they played against Serbia, and just how he took control of the game. He was the main threat going forward, always getting around the ball, and I just liked how he stayed out of it. We will see him start to come inside if he's not seeing the ball, but when you have quality in the attack the way the Timbers do, he'll be able to just stay out of it, knowing that the ball's going to eventually come to him.
Liam Ridgewell. That went into touch, it appeared. Salt Lake thought so. Now it is a throw-in for Real Salt Lake.
Be interesting to watch that matchup on that far side. Going up against Nagbe, you got Jordan Allen, who will be playing down the right side of RSL's attack. And Jordan Allen, he's been shifted around different positions through his time at RSL. Time at the number 10, time at the holding, time at the right-hand side, even right back.
Maybe an early chance for Portland. Maddox is in the box. Tried to leave it for Blanco. It was blocked well by Salt Lake. Here's Blanco in towards Valeri. Knocked off the ball by Sonny. You mentioned Jordan Allen. They call him affectionately the Swiss Army knife in Salt Lake. He has played so many positions. Still very young, just 21 years old. And this year, we'll get the first shot, it appears, at that right wing spot in the starting 11 for Salt Lake. Salt Lake had a much publicized wooing courtship with Landon Donovan. It didn't come off. And so the youth movement accelerates even more so for Salt Lake. There's a spot there on the right wing for a player like Jordan Allen.
Well, you do look down on the team and you do see talent in the attack, Jake, but you wonder what happens if there's a knock in the team? What happens there's a dip in form? Who do you have coming off the bench? Who do you have to really give that potency in the attack outside of Movsisyan, outside of João Plata and Rusnak? What's expected of him? I think you're really going to be missing that Burrito Martinez until you bring in another quality player to that level that can produce.
Well, they have quite a lot of youthful talent as Nagbe gets forward, causing problems for Aaron Mond, who handled it well and sends it out for a throw.
You see Nagbe turning on the Jets. Just him closing down that space as Mond had to get onto the ball as quick as he could.
Salt Lake has always had, on paper, a plethora of attacking options that are young, but none have really been able to break through at the MLS level. Stars at the youth level of the US U20 team, which was just announced today. 4 of the 20 players are on this Salt Lake roster, and a 5th is in college, but is a product of the RSL Academy and could be a homegrown. Guys, the talent is there. Sebastian Sacedo, Brooks Lennon, who was recently brought back to Salt Lake. Will those guys make an impact? Will the Timbers make an impact here? Blanco to Valeri. Couldn't put it on frame, but it has been all Portland the first 5 minutes of this match.
It's as though the Timbers team are looking for Diego Valeri every single time, and Valeri is getting himself from the left side to the right, and you just see him there, gets himself into a nice pocket. Just can't get his body around that ball as it pops up on him. You can see the idea. Go on to these new players, Guzman, Blanco. Are they looking for their teammates? Start to assess, is there an understanding early on, even though in the grand scheme of it, they haven't had a whole lot of time with one another, particularly Blanco. So you look to see, okay, what's the relationships like already?
João Plata. Here is Albert Rusnak, our first look at him. Phillips sending it into the box. That came off Diego Chara. Jake Gleason had to be safe with it. And it will be a corner kick, the first of the match for RSL.
Plenty of bodies around for the Timbers to defend the cross. Chara getting himself back towards the near stick. Too hot to handle for Jake Gleason.
It will be Albert Rusnak, 22-year-old young designated player. Handled at the near post by Nagbe. Possibly a chance to break. Maddox has Nagbe on the right. Sonny was back to cut it off.
That was a big opportunity. An awful pass by Sonny. Went straight into Darren Maddox, and for Maddox, I thought he took an extra touch before he was looking for the pass. If he released Nagbe, Nagbe was just looking along that offside line nicely. He would have been running through.
Here's Jordan Allen, 21 years old. So much promise for him, as we discussed. Will this be the year where he really makes a breakthrough for Salt Lake? Ball comes off the referee, Soren Stoica. And now Vitas can come forward on the left side.
controlling the game nicely, the Timbers. They're getting on the ball. Nice movement. There's a nice zip in the legs as well. You can see the fitness levels keep going up throughout this preseason.
Already, we're only in the 8th minute, and Darlington Nagbe, Sebastian Blanco have switched sides. You expect to see a lot of interchanging, I think, in this attack this year as Blanco's cross is over everybody's head.
There's a point of emphasis of what Blanco can bring as well. He's two-footed, so he can get the ball out with his left foot, give the outswinger if he's on that side. On the left-hand side, if he shifts it onto his right, the in-swinger can look for those darting runs coming across the defense.
Nick Raimondo, 17th season in Salt Lake, the MLS career goalkeeping leader in pretty much every category. That's too much for Yura Movsisyan. So Raimondo, Beckerman still around for Salt Lake. Chris Winger still there. Tony Beltran still there, but no Javier Morales, and that's going to be weird. Seeing him in a Dallas jersey for the first time, signed with FC Dallas in the offseason. It was a much publicized saga when he left Salt Lake, had his own press conference at a hotel downtown in Salt Lake City. Such a fantastic player for Salt Lake for so many years, and one of the best in the league.
They explored the free agency market, the ability for him to go off and sign with whatever club that he would like. Decided that to be FC Dallas. And then Burrito Martinez, he had asked to be let out of his contract, and RSL GM and coach Jeff Cassar, they decided that they wanted to wish him well and accept his wishes to allow him to return back to Argentina as family, personal reasons came into play. But those are two big pieces, as we've talked about, that RSL will have to look to replace Burrito Martinez and Javier Morales.
Not much you can do, I think, as an organization when a situation arises like Burrito Martinez, as Raimondo is there quickly. But it's a big loss. Obviously, if you watch Salt Lake play the past year and a half, one of the more dynamic players in the league, one of the best one-on-one players, I think it's fair to say, attacking in the league. Salt Lake will have to replace him. Blanco getting stuck in and taking it off of João Plato, and gets a thumbs up from Caleb Porter on the bench.
Caleb Porter talked to the media yesterday, and he said, in soccer nowadays, you need all 11 players who will defend. Not just 9, not just 10. You need everybody on the pitch who are willing to get in behind the ball, willing to stick a foot in, and the Timbers miss that sometimes. Lucas Milano last year, times he wanted to go forward but wouldn't do as much work defensively. Blanco will do it.
Here's Vitas, chance to cross, looking for Maddox. Oh, he got up there. Schmidt, the center back rookie, Justin Schmidt, was able to get his head to it first. Maddox, only 5'10", but one of the best vertical leaps in MLS. Can certainly score with his head. Again, Maddox starting tonight at the striker spot because Fernando Adi has a tight hamstring. Nothing serious. The Timbers just being cautious with their striker. Plata, Rusnak. It's given away by Salt Lake. Guzman does very well to keep it from Plata. Maddox whistled for the foul.
I have to agree with Maddox. I didn't see an awful lot in there. It was more Aaron Mon being off balance.
Phillips nutmegs his former Jamaican national team teammate Alvis Powell. Sissien battling Phillips into a dangerous spot. Came off the head of Ridgewell. Vitas is going to get there. It's safe in the end for the Timbers.
I'm interested to see Vitas and how he starts off the season, given that this will be his first full season, his first preseason with the Portland Timbers, where he was thrown into things coming in halfway through the year and thought he did well. He at least gave that stability at that left back position, but for now, him coming in, knowing where he's going to be for a full season, knowing that he's got a full preseason under his belt, he knows what the culture is all about, the teammates around him, just to see how he progresses.
Diego Valeri clipping Jordan Allen.
Just as Allen is trying to get away, Valeri sticking the foot in. It's always going to be a stretch to try and get on the other end of the ball as Allen was taking himself away. As the referee does show a booking, you can understand why, as Jordan Allen was the other side of Diego Valeri, and Diego Valeri was preventing a counter-attack.
First yellow card of this match shown to Diego Valeri. Had just 2 of those all of last season. Here's Jeff Gassar, Salt Lake's manager. 4th year in charge. Jordan Allen is okay, back up without any need of a trainer to come out on the pitch. Luke Mulholland into the corner for DeMar Phillips. Couldn't bring it down initially, is able to keep it in play. Olam, well, it's dangerous inside his own 18. Ridgewell sweeps it clear.
Far too dangerous. He had out of his power line. He could have just knocked a 5-yard pass towards him.
Big switch from Blanco trying to find Darlington Nagbe. Oh, he did so well to keep that in play. It was a little bit too heavy of a touch. The dunk gives it away. He's able to track back and take it off Valeri. Oh, then a poor ball to Maddox. Might be here for the Timbers. Blanco, a header just wide. And it came off the Salt Lake defender, Justin Schmidt. So it will be the Timbers' first corner kick of the match.
It all starts on Darlington Nagbe digging out a pass that would have normally gone out for a throw-in. The Timbers make something out of nothing, and Blanco, he gets himself right into the middle of the goal. Trying to rise above his marker. He's not the tallest of players, this Sebastian Blanco, but he shows a good leap there.
Listed at 5'7", the new designated player for the Timbers. Former teammate of Diego Valeri. They played together, came up together at Lanús in Argentina. Valeri is 2 years older than Blanco. Came through the same club. Vitas at the near post flicks it on. That came off of Lawrence Olam, and it would be a goal kick for Salt Lake. Sebastian Blanco, Diego Valeri, certainly friendly with each other, familiar with each other from their time playing together in Argentina. Blanco said when he came here that he was really excited to play with Valeri. He said they've been talking about how they find how cool, crazy it was to be playing with each other again on the pitch after so many years. They were part of a Lanús team in 2007 that won that club's first ever Argentinian title. They were both very young at the time, part of kind of a youth golden generation at Lanús. Now trying to repeat that success here in Portland. Well, Valeri. And a foul called on Sonny. An advantage was given by Soren Stoica, the referee, momentarily. It ended up that the advantage would have continued after Phillips' clearance went off of Valeri, but Stoica, when he saw Phillips come over to win that ball, whistled it back.
Could have perhaps let the play go for another half a second, just to see how the ball would have fell to Valeri. Not a lot of numbers though around Diego Valeri. Perhaps that's what the referee saw.
Again, a giveaway by Salt Lake. Valeri takes it away this time. Nagbe swarmed by 3 RSL defenders. Heavy touch from Phillips. Blanco pestering. It's off of Blanco. but the supporters here at Providence Park like the work rate.
Back it up here, back it up, back it up.
Sonny, the holding midfielder for RSL, he's had a few slack passes early on. He was such a big part of RSL last year. He came into the team looking to perhaps be the heir to that holding midfield spot when Kyle Beckerman, when his career winds down, if it ever does. He seems to go on forever. Not available tonight for Jeff Cassar's team, but Sonny has been a nice piece to it. He just hasn't had the brightest of starts to begin this match.
Yeah, Kyle Beckerman, a bone bruise in his knee, lower leg, so out tonight. 34 years old, back for his 11th season with Salt Lake. Restart coming here for Portland. The center backs have pushed forward.
Shorin, players in offside position, 5 of them standing off. 4 of them standing off.
Valeri whips it to the back post. It almost fell to Ridgewell. Mond had to get his head to it and did. Ridgewell was sitting there with eyes wide open on the back post.
The defensive line for RSL did well. They dropped back. They left the space there for Valeri to hit it into, but they dropped back nicely together. 5 yards, able to get a head on it.
Guzman brought down by Sonny. Ross, you mentioned Sonny's impact last year. Missed 13 matches in the middle of the season after colliding with New York goalkeeper Luis Robles, a facial fracture. And it was tough for Salt Lake without him. They were 7-5-3 when Sonny played last year in the 15 matches that he was able to see action. They were 5-8-6 without him.
Just how it broke up their rhythm as well. RSL went on. They didn't win a game from September, October. Finished off the season on a tailward spin.
Valeri, he's trying for goal. Skipped past Ridgewell, skipped past the post. Nick Ramondo's trying to claim that Ridgewell was offside. The assistant referee shook him off. It doesn't really matter in the end. Blanco leaving for Maddox. That came off of Luke Mulholland. He had to do something with it, and it will be the second corner kick of the match for Portland.
Yeah, Luke Mulholland's done very well there because the center backs were pulled around for RSL. And as Blanco drifted across, he was pulling defenders with him, and he was looking for that run of Darren Maddox, just coming late, trying to slip it in, but Mulholland was following Maddox all the way.
Valeri to the back post. Guzman was able to get his head to it, but no real effect in that header.
Been a real sharpness about the Timbers in their attack, particularly with Nagby and Diego Valeri. I know that's something you looked at down in Arizona. Diego Valeri, how sharp he looked. I thought with Darlington Nagby, his U.S. camp, Bruce Arena, how good he looked in the U.S. men's national team games. But tonight, there's an extra yard in Nagby's runs. Valeri, extra bit of quality in his touch and the way he's getting around the pitch to always be available for every player.
This is the first time that Diego Valeri, Darlington Nagby, and Sebastian Blanco have played together in Timbers kits and, of course, trained together a little bit. Here is Blanco. And a long ball from Nagby. Looking for Maddox. Couldn't direct it on goal. But again, it's the Timbers providing 90% of the pressure in this first half.
Well, the left back for RSL, Phillips, he's caught so far up the park. And Blanco, he decides to go into that space. The ball does find him, and he's just trying to look for the run of Maddox. The ball is caught behind him, so he's not able to get a lot of loft on that ball. Schmidt, he's always going down to close him. It's going to be difficult for Maddox. In the end, he's unable to test Nick Ramondo.
Guzman running straight through João Plata. It's like a tank colliding with a Mini Cooper.
It's a fair enough challenge. Fair enough comparison as well, Jay.
Maybe a Porsche 911 for Zhao Plaza. I give him a little more credit than the, nothing against the Mini Cooper, but Plaza's more like a sports car, I would say.
You can see there was a dent in him as well as he looked down at his leg, just pointing at Guzman. I think he was looking for at least an apology, but I tell you, number 6, a holding center midfielder, you're not in the game of apologizing after you go and put in tackles, even in friendlies. Guzman's going to want to win over this fan support as quick as possible to show what he's all about, and I think that's a little taste of it, is the tough tackling and no nonsense.
Mulholland trying to get forward. All of Salt Lake's attack in this first half has come down their left attacking side. Alvis Powell, Luke Mulholland getting into it. Urimov Sisian breaking it up, aggressively breaking it up.
You've got the point there. I thought at first Mosisian was just going to get in the way of the youngster for the Timbers because Alvis Powell looked to be going off his head, but Mosisian, if anything, was more the aggressor the way he was throwing himself in there.
Alvis Powell appeared to be pointing to his elbow.
You just see the strong arm by Alvis Powell, and then he's trying to see the ball out, and as Mulholland, he's angry by that. Just throws Alvis Powell to the side. I think the job was done there. Obviously, temper's boiling over. Doesn't look to be any hands to the faces. Nothing overly concerning for the referee. I think the bookings were fair enough.
Yellow cards to both Alvis Powell and Urimov Sisian. Last time these two teams met in a preseason match, it was last year in Tucson, and there was pretty much an all-out fight in that match that saw 2 players get sent off, and famously saw Jack McInerney put a Salt Lake player in a headlock. Mulholland shown yellow also.
The referee's just trying to calm things down. A discussion with Ridgewell and Mosisian in the middle of the park, but this one is ill-tempered, boiling over. Alvis Powell, the outstrength Mulholland as he was going down that left-hand side. A little irritated Mulholland was. That's how everything kicked off, but in the end, little pats on the chest, all's forgotten.
So we're through with that little kerfuffle and ready to get back to play. 25 minutes in, Ross, again, the vast majority of the attacking play has happened in the Timbers attacking half. Your thoughts specifically on the newcomers, Sebastian Blanco, David Guzman?
You see more free-flowing play. You can see the attack combining better for the Timbers compared to RSL. RSL, they look the most threatening coming down this left-hand side when Phillips was looking to join in.
Phillips again going at Powell. Again, DeMar Phillips. Rusnak. Another little nutmeg of Phillips, of Powell from Phillips, but didn't get it back this time. Sonny steps up to win it. Chara gets it back.
What you see there is 2 ball winners. You got Guzman going one side of the pitch to go and get the ball back. Doesn't connect his pass as he would have liked, but then there's Diego Chara a little bit further up the pitch to help him out when his partner's in trouble.
This decision goes against Diego Chara. Most fouls in league history in a single season last year. Diego Chara, 86 times whistled in 2016, an MLS record. Might see fewer this year with David Guzman in there with him, it allows, as we talked about earlier, maybe not, I mean, he's Diego Chara, but in theory, it allows him to be slightly more attack-minded and let David Guzman maybe do a little bit more of that dirty work.
Defensively, I think what allows Diego Chara is to go looking for tackles more, and I think he's able to then go and press the ball further up the pitch, and so it's not allowing the opposition to settle on the ball. The midfield, you think the luxury that they would want to have the opposition to get on the ball and start seeing passes. You've got a Diego Chara now starting to hassle you the way he was going at Jordan Allen. It doesn't allow you to stroke the nice passes that typically you're used to.
They might get through to Powell. Phillips came over. He's upset. I think he thought Powell dragged his foot on top of DeMar Phillips.
There's a bit more fire about this preseason match than we've seen in previous games, and I think you could say in part it's to do with a crowd. All of a sudden, you've got people coming in here to watch. It's getting closer towards the start of the season. Guys are fighting for spots in the team. Guys are getting a little bit more fitter, a little bit more competitive. They're starting to think about that day one of the season, and so tackles starting to fly in a little bit more.
Also, a little bit more energetic of an atmosphere than you find in preseason matches. It's always been one of the benefits of the Timbers annual preseason tournament. They get a decent crowd here at Providence Park. Certainly for a preseason match, one of the largest crowds that any MLS team will see.
Caleb Porter used the word artificial. As great as Arizona is down in Tucson and the benefits of it all, and you come home and you get the crowd, you get the stadium, you get your locker. As a Portland Timber player, you're starting to wrap your head around, okay, this is what it's going to look like come game day. It becomes a lot more real.
Timbers will have 3 matches here in this tournament as Guzman's whistled for a foul. They'll play Minnesota United on Sunday evening at 5 o'clock. Then Cascadia rival Vancouver on Wednesday, a 7:30 start. Both those matches you can watch here on Timbers.com.
Just Guzman catching the back of the foot of Movsisyan as he's trying to spring in a player.
"26 years old, David Guzman. His entire previous career was spent with Saprissa in Costa Rica. Won 5 championships in 8 seasons. Member of the Costa Rican national team. Signed in the offseason by Portland. They tried to break, they were unable to. And a foul called as Movsisyan was looking for a shot on goal.
Saprissa has been a club that's been rated in the offseason. MLS has come in and picked up players. 4 from Saprissa alone, 2 more to go along with that coming into MLS. I think a big reason you can look back to the World Cup and how well Costa Rica did in that World Cup, and all of a sudden all this attention started to come upon them.
Timbers will have another former Saprissa player joining them before the beginning of this season, Roy Miller. He has stayed with Saprissa for their CONCACAF Champions League matches, at least their first one, but will join up with the team before the MLS regular season begins. He provides depth on the back line, pretty much at every position. Primarily, he's been a center back of late with Saprissa, an outside back for the New York Red Bulls for so many seasons. It's probably what he's most known as from Major League Soccer fans.
Referee just having a quick word with challenge going in, but Roy Miller, you mentioned him coming in late. I think that's the one position that Caleb Porter said it's maybe kept them up a little bit at night, as that final center back position. Roy Miller won't come in till late, and so he'll be, you would say, unavailable due to fitness and him integrating himself in. He'll be unavailable for the first day of the season, so probably not consider Renico Clark. He's a youngster. We get a chance. Loris Olem, perhaps, unless the Timbers are able to bring in a signing at that center back position.
Well, Caleb Porter has said that they still plan on signing a starting center back. Coming into this season, Benga Arakoyo was the plan to at least get the first shot at being the starting center back. He tore his Achilles tendon in Tucson. He's out for the season. So that leaves a spot. The Timbers plan on making a signing, but of course, you got to get that done, got to get the contract signed. And until then, it's someone on this roster. Lawrence Olam getting the start tonight next to Liam Ridgewell. Renico Clark had started a couple matches in Tucson alongside Ridgewell, but Caleb Porter said openly that they don't feel he's ready. They don't feel it's fair to him to start him week 1 in opening night of the regular season. Timbers coming forward, advantage played. Blanco looking for the near post. Had Ramondo going the other way, but he put it wide.
Well, it's slack from RSL. You do have to give credit to the Timbers, the way they were pressing. Diego Valeri coming back, sitting in the hole, providing that pressure on the holding set of midfielders so they can't get the ball, turn out, and find passes. But a slack pass from Aaron Mon there allows the Timbers to get on the counter-attack.
Mond picks out Allen, quickly won back by Guzman. Chara, toe poke to Blanco. Into space, Maddox trying to leave it for Nagbe, who runs it down. Composure from Guzman, and a big switch into space. Phillips was able to recover. Rusnak gets a big knock from Lawrence Olam and goes down hard. Timbers have been physical tonight.
Rusnak was just trying to keep Joe Plata going. As Plata just uses him as a bouncing board. Olam, he just comes in late. He does leave in a leg. I think more that it's the momentum, him coming in, and he's unable to put on the brakes as Rusnak was just popping the ball off.
That was, no pun intended, the knock against Albert Rusnak earlier in his career. He was a youth player at Manchester City, on loan around England in the lower divisions, but as a younger, smaller, creative player, struggled with the physicality of those leagues. Had a lot more success when he moved to the Eredivisie in the Netherlands. Movsisyan brought it down in the box, but the touch got away from him. And it'll be a goal kick for the Timbers.
It wasn't a bad ball. I don't know how much Movsisyan was expecting that ball to come in with such velocity. I just think down that left-hand side, you'd like to see Nagbe getting a little bit more involved, getting him running at the right back for RSL, seeing what he can do.
Nagbe turns and comes upfield. Powell. Nagbe settles so well. Maddox saved by Ramondo. The follow-up is in. Timbers strike first. It's Valeri, and it's 1-0.
This is what Nagbe can do when he's not getting on the ball, when he's not seen as much as he would like. He can start to drift, and he's got the freedom from his manager, Caleb Porter, to go looking for the ball. And all of a sudden, when he comes in the middle, there's an overload, and RSL, they're struggling for numbers then to pick up men coming at them. So it's Darlington Nagbe gets in, he pops it back off, and then he continues his run. And from there, could he be more selfish? Could he have gone for goal himself? Well, the ball ends up finding its way to Diego Valeri, and for him, it's easy to tuck away from there. He's looking for Maddox or perhaps Blanco on the other side of him, but it falls kindly to Valeri, who makes no mistake about that ball. One of the easiest finishes he'll have.
Must be said, pretty fantastic save from Nick Ramondo on the initial shot from Darren Maddox. We're used to seeing him make those kind of saves here at Providence Park.
He's made a career off it, hasn't he? Point blank saves. Nick Ramondo, that's been his specialty.
The Timbers certainly will be pleased with getting that goal. It's a half that I think they've certainly had more of the attacking opportunities in, though, as we went into the 25th, 30th minute, 35th minute of late. Salt Lake giving a little more pressure.
You just see the numbers that the Timbers had in that attack. Numbers forward. You had Blanco as an option on the other side of Darren Mannix and Darlington Neby continuing the box. And go back to David Guzman, and I think the confidence that he'll give for these attacking players to go and gamble, because you've got the security there, knowing that you've got numbers who are happy to sit back and happy to just break things up just in case the attack doesn't go your way.
Chara tried to slide it through for Maddox. It was broken up well by Luke Mulholland. You can hear in the north end of the stadium, Timber Joey's chainsaw getting its first work in the 2017 season. Rusnak trying to answer for Salt Lake. Movsisian, Gleason parries it away. First time tested tonight, and he's up to the task.
It was good build-up play by Rusnak. Got on the ball, and he had a chasing Chara come at him, but Rusnak enough pace to keep that distance. And as Movsisian pops up, you can see the back line for the Timbers drop off, and they allow Movsisian to turn and have a sight at goal. But Jake Gleason, he got his angles right, his starting position very good, and he makes a two-handed save. Nice and strong to push the ball out for a corner. So much is talked about zonal defense off set pieces, corner kicks, man and marking. You can see the Timbers very much in a zone, but look how compact they are. 6 players in between the sticks. Darlington Neby off that front stick if there's anything that's coming short.
And we have a review. Soren Stojka has made the signal for a review. Now, the video assistant referee is in play in this match. It's something that has been talked about this year. Here's another look. So there's a few things that can be reviewed. You can have a goal, a penalty kick, a red card, or mistaken identity. Given what we just saw, it must be a review for a red card to see if indeed a red card should be given that was missed.
Well, Movsisian did go to the ground holding his face. You saw a high elbow there. Whether that made contact to the face of Movsisian as he was following through, as Diego Chara was coming back in, to say that's what I believe that the referee right now is having a look at.
So here's how this works. There's a video assistant referee that is up here in the press box, constantly watching the game, constantly checking as we get another look. And it's certainly that high arm from Diego Chara that went into the side of the face of Jure Movsisian. We must assume that is what is being checked. Soren Stojka, the referee, has watched the replay. We'll explain this process in a moment. But first, the decision.
Well, I do wonder whether Diego Chara could be in trouble here.
Yeah, Soren Stojka is calling him over.
Well, as that ball has been released from Movsisian, Diego Chara and his elbow coming through. The referee just explaining that he's looked at the review.
And Soren Stojka has gone to the back pocket, and he has shown a red card to Diego Chara. He used a formal review, video review, to do so. And Chara will be sent off in the 41st minute. Now, we'll talk about the decision in a moment, but first I want to explain the process. There's a video assistant referee, VAR as is known, up here in the press box area, constantly watching the game, checking everything. There are 4 different reviewable scenarios: a goal, a penalty kick decision, a red card incident, or a incident of a mistaken identity of either a red card or a yellow card that is shown. Those are the only 4 things that can be formally reviewed. If the VAR, the video assistant referee, sees one of those 4 things that he thinks was incorrectly called out on the pitch, then he communicates that to the referee, Soren Stojka. It's then up to the referee to decide whether or not to initiate a formal review based on the information that's given to him from the VAR. the referee, Soren Stoica, can either listen to what is told to him and make the decision right there. He doesn't need to look at the video himself, or as he just did, he can decide to go to the video and to look at it and watch the replays and then make a determination on his own. It is always his decision as to what happens. He has, as we saw today, he watched the video, Soren Stoica did, and he made the decision based on the video that he saw that Diego Chara deserved a red card for an elbow to the head of Jure Movsisyan. So now this is a direct free kick. Essentially it's back to being a foul just outside of the box on Movsisyan. So it's a free kick for Salt Lake. João Plata finishes. A red card and a goal in the 43rd. We're level.
Well, it's well taken by João Plata as he steps up, and he makes no mistake about it. He had a lot to contend with the wall being all bunched in, the amount of numbers right in front of him, but the power on this ball, and he gets the right height as well as it comes through. Gleason doesn't have a lot of time to react as the ball is so close, 18 yards from him, and Plata, he opts for the power. He's able to level this game, but we go back to the decision that the crowd were continuing to focus on as they booed after the goal. And for me, I do think it is a red card. You wondered initially when Movsisyan went to ground, why was he holding his face? Why was he rolling about? Was it more just upset about him not finishing the play? But when you look at it, and the contact from Diego Chara, the elbow is high, excessive force, endangering the safety of the opponent. You could check both of those. And when the referee has gone back to the video assistant referee to look on the screen, that's what you would have been looking at and seen the contact and the heavy elbow.
Movsisyan is offside as he finishes past Jake Gleason. Flag came up in plenty of time. We have received official confirmation from the referees here that the review identified an elbow to the face, violent conduct by Diego Chara, who was shown a red card. So the Timbers now will play, of course, the rest of this match, a man down. Diego Chara will be suspended if the rules of this preseason tournament are as they have been in the past. He will be suspended for Sunday night's match. The next match, though, that's pretty inconsequential as he would not have played in that match anyway. Should be able to be back on Wednesday as the Timbers would want their starters to play in that match. 4 minutes of stoppage time because of the delay.
Caleb Porter will have time to see how he shuffles the pack. The plan was 60 minutes for these players, except for Sebastian Blanco. 45 minutes was on the cards for him.
There's one thing about the preseason that we've heard at times when we've seen red cards in this tournament, which has certainly happened in the past, is that now when you're playing a man down, it doesn't really do either team any good because both teams want to just get ready for March 3rd. Vitas gets around Dunk. His cross was low and on the ground and easily cut off by Mulholland.
Well, you of course want everything to be as real, as game-like, as a regular season as possible, but that, as you mentioned, is a consideration. And I wonder if it's something in the future to look at, because second half right now for RSL to play a man up, it doesn't really mimic what they'll be looking at all season long, given the unfortunate it does come across, but rarely it does during the season. And so for them, they're not looking to practice how they're going to play when they're a man up. They'd rather it be even strength. So you wonder whether that comes about where you do have a red card, but the team who lost a man are able to put in a player off the bench.
Well, it's certainly been an eventful end to this first half. First, Diego Valeri in the 36th minute. Then, after a video review that showed a red card that was necessary for Diego Chara, a fantastic free kick from João Plata. He's done that before in this stadium from a similar distance. Nagby taken down in a foul call. It was March 19th last year on the other side, the south side. Pretty much straight on. Put that one past Adam Kawarase. Blanco, nobody there. You've seen it though, it was talked about a lot. He's a two-footed player. You've seen that now in this first half, his ability to whip in a dangerous ball with either his left foot from the left side, his right foot from the right side.
It's just that he's staying over on that left-hand side as Nagby has come in the middle to fill the void of Diego Chara. Diego Valeri, and more on that right-hand side.
Maddox gets around Mount, stays on his feet. Blanco! Oh! Cleared off the line! Venus! He thinks it's a handball. And it is! Penalty kick coming for the Timbers.
It was good play by Terran Maddox, who was able to get 1v1, and from there he's just out strength and got himself in a good position. It's a bit too hot to handle his pass into Sebastian Blanco, but as Vitas comes in, Jordan Allen, he's trying to get himself across, and the referee is in a good position to make the call, as it does look to be a handball. It does look to be the correct decision for the referee to point to the spot.
As we talk about VAR, this is reviewable, but of course there will not be a review because the call was right, and the VAR's up here in the press box constantly checking everything, and if they see it, there's no problem with that call, then they can communicate that, and no reviews initiated, no reviews necessary, and certainly no time is taken up on the field with that process. Look at Nick Raimondo. Little head games in the preseason maybe with Diego Valeri. He's the best ever at defending penalty kicks. But Valeri tucks it into the corner, and it's 2-1 just before halftime. And it is now halftime. Well, a wild ending to the first half. 3 goals and a red card in the final 10 minutes of the half. Another look at the penalty kick goal as the Timbers will take a 2-1 lead into the break.
Well, he gets right. Nick Raimondo, as he gets himself across, but Diego Valeri, there was enough height on the ball as Raimondo was guessing more towards the bottom corner. Valeri, enough lift on the ball to take the Timbers ahead.
So down a man, but up a goal heading into the half. The Portland Timbers taking a 2-1 lead into the break here at Providence Park. Valeri in the 36th opened the scoring. It was Plata in the 43rd after the video review showed a red card for Diego Chara, and then Diego Valeri giving the Timbers the lead. We'll be back in about 10 minutes with the second half. Independence Park, it's halftime. Portland Timbers and Real Salt Lake. The Timbers with a 2-1 lead after an eventful final 10 minutes to the first half that saw 3 goals, a video replay, and a red card given after that video replay. Jake Sivan alongside Ross Smith. Yeah, what can you say? I mean, there's a lot to talk about. It was certainly drama-filled and impactful in the last 10 minutes, and we're going to look at the highlights from the first half. We'll begin, though, with earlier in the half, the Timbers' debut of Sebastian Blanco, the new designated player. He showed well in his first 45.
I think he really did. The way he was combining with his players, the way he knew where his teammates would be, his sharpness on the ball, the way he was getting around the pitch and having that freedom to go in search of getting in strong positions. And we just see the way, again, he's combining with his players and just that instinct to know what runs players will be making at certain times. And we go back to the Timbers' first goal where Nagby, he comes inside, he overloads that midfield, and then he continues on his run. And from there, he's looking, whether it's Mannix or perhaps Blanco on the other side of him. Eventually, it does fall to Diego Valeri. But all those numbers for the Timbers in the attack, getting in that box, and you can count them with Nagby, Mannix, Valeri, Blanco, all 4 of them in a dangerous area.
So here's the red card. This was not called initially. You see Diego Chara, an elbow to the face of Yuromov Sissy. Soren Stoica, the referee, initiated a video review. It was determined that the call on the field was clearly wrong, that's the verbiage, and that Diego Chara needed to be sent off because of a red card. Then immediately following the ensuing free kick, brilliance from João Plata.
Yeah, it went for power rather than precision. It was enough from the distance out to take it beyond Jake Gleason. From there, the Timbers going the other end. Right before the halftime, putting themselves back ahead. It was a handball that the referee adjudged Jordan Allen to have made. Correct decision. Diego Valeri steps up and he lifts it over Nick Romano to take the Timbers in the lead.
So the Timbers a 2-1 lead as we head into the second half, which is now underway. However, playing a man down for the rest of this match. The Timbers have made 1 substitution. Salt Lake has made 1 substitution. For the Timbers, it's Jack Barmby, who you see number 23 at left wing, coming on for Sebastian Blanco. The Timbers have shifted, it appears, to essentially a 4-4-1. We'll see how that materializes as the half goes on. 2 kind of straight lines of 4, and then Darren Maddox up top. For Salt Lake, their only substitution, Lalo Fernandez coming on in goal for Nick Romando. Salt Lake immediately pressuring to begin this second half. We expect wholesale changes. The other, 9 players now for the Timbers and 10 for Salt Lake at about the 60th minute mark. Here's Jordan Allen. Luke Mulholland, big switch, picks out DeMar Phillips. Mulholland, Vitas shoving Jordan Allen out of the way as Allen was looking to get on that ball, but couldn't match the physicality of Vitas, and it was easy for Jake Gleason. Guzman couldn't handle it. Salt Lake will try to break. Movsisian turns into Rusnak. It was blocked by Olam. It will be a corner for Salt Lake.
As the match was wearing on, starting to see a little bit more of that relationship between Rusnak and Movsisian. The one opportunity for Movsisian in the first half, which led to the red card decision of Diego Chara, where Rusnak, he picked up the ball in the midfield and he got himself forward. In this last instance, him combining well with Movsisian.
Rusnak takes the corner. Vitas, his clearance went right to Plata. Justin Schmidt, the rookie center back. Shot was blocked. Now it's Albert Rusnak. Valeri took it away. Timbers trying to break. Down a man, tough without numbers. And Nagby's ball is behind Maddox.
Tough without numbers, tough as your preseason is. Predominantly about your fitness and making sure you're getting your match fitness in, and the distance in the legs. So the Timbers are going to have a bit more distance to cover, being a body down.
Well, maybe a decent fitness session then. 15 minutes here before substitutions are made. Rusnak. Phillips into the area. It came off Ridgewell, and it will be a corner for Salt Lake.
Well, it was Phillips in the first half who was continuing to push high and get down that left-hand side again. Starts off the second half, whips on the ball for Musician.
Plata, dangerous ball driven in. It came off Maddox, still not out of danger. Nagby tried to get it clear only as far as Rusnak.
This is where my argument would be for preseason at the halftime to be able to go even strength again, is that players want to show well. Some players might be trying to earn a spot in the team.
Oh, Allen, that was very well done by the youngster. Sent clear. Another cross played in. Elvis Powell just sends it into the crowd. And if you're Salt Lake, we talked about that, and certainly don't want to speak for Jeff Cassar and Real Salt Lake. As Phillips nutmegs Powell again, he's been going through the legs of his fellow Jamaican international all night long. Don't want to speak certainly for Jeff Cassar, but for Salt Lake, as we said earlier, there's less benefit right now in playing up a man in a preseason when you're trying to get ready for what you're going to see in the regular season than there would be playing even strength. As Aaron Mond whistled for the foul.
Think about it defensively, a back four for RSL. You want to face the normal numbers, which would be coming at you in a regular season match at full strength. So you want to get used to what numbers are coming on to you. You don't want to have the freedom of the space where you're just strolling through the game. You want to be as realistic as possible. For RSL, the positioning of their backs, I thought a few times that they got pulled apart in that first half. You look at Diego Valeri's first goal, just how the center backs went missing. They got pulled apart as Nagby gave that extra numbers. Wasn't enough defensive bodies for RSL being in that center area to look after him.
Here is Nagby. Timbers did get their second goal down a man. Penalty kick from Diego Valeri after Darren Maddox got into the box, played it across to Sebastian Blanco, who couldn't quite put enough pace on a ball into the open net, but eventually Vitas's cross in that kind of scramble that ensued went off the arm of Jordan Allen. The penalty kick was given. Valeri sending it into space. Elvis Powell trying to get behind. Justin Schmidt there. Phillips as well. Powell still pressuring. Sent clear, but only as far as Valeri. Looking for Barmby. Heading it towards Maddox. Maddox is onside. Maddox has scored! Down the man! Up 2 goals! It's 3-1!
That was pointing towards the RSL centre-backs before this goal came about, as feeling at times it could have been stronger positionally in the first half and physically as well, and this is it should do better. As the ball falls to Darren Maddox, he just barrels his way right through the defensive line of RSL. The ball coming in, it's clipped in, there's intent there to find Jack Barmby, and Darren Maddox, he gets himself in between the two centre-backs, and from there it's a bit of a calamity between the two centre-backs. There's a lack of communication, lack of conviction of who's going to look after it, and it falls to Darren Maddox, who from 6 yards out just needs to pick his spot.
First goal of the preseason for Darren Maddox, and the second goal while playing down a man for the Portland Timbers tonight. Haven't talked a lot about the center backs for Salt Lake yet this evening. Justin Schmidt, a rookie second-round draft pick out of Washington, getting the start this evening alongside Aaron Mond. Aaron Mond is a projected starter. Justin Glad, the other projected starter for Salt Lake, is with the U.S. U20 team. You mentioned it earlier, 4 of the 20 players on that team are from Salt Lake. Allen on the back post couldn't get to it. Vitas concedes the corner.
Well, Schmidt, he reminds me of a young David Horse, and it's funny that David Horse is in this RSL team, but in terms of the frame, the body movement, the style of play of David Horse compared to Schmidt is very similar.
Ridgewell heads it clear, momentarily goes down. He's back to his feet. Rusnak one-on-one against Vitas. chipped into the area over everybody's head. Oh, Powell knotted it down to Mulholland. He can strike from distance. He does it again. Goals aplenty, and it's 3-2.
Well, hasn't been the greatest of starts for Elvis Powell on the right-hand side. It's a poor header from him as he puts the ball right into a dangerous area for Luke Mulholland, who's done this a few times in his career from 18 yards out, straight ahead. Good contact on the ball, good technique. It all starts from Rusnak. Again, it's not the best of balls, but it's a very poor clearance by Elvis Powell, who puts it right into the pathway of Mulholland. Jake Gleason does get a touch to it. I think at Gleason's expectation of his standards, whether he could have done more with it, but there was enough power to take it beyond the touch of his hand.
The Timbers coming right back. Jack Barmby attempts a back heel and does a couple step overs. Fancy from Jack Barmby, back for another season in Portland. Still just 22 years old. Luke Mulholland, he has 13 goals in his MLS career. Don't know how many of them are from distance, but I'd venture to guess a higher percentage than most players in the league. He certainly has shown an ability over his time in Salt Lake, now his 4th season, to score the spectacular goal from distance. He's one of the guys you don't want to give time and space from 25 yards out. Allen looking for the back post. It's high and wide.
He's gotten himself more involved, Jordan Allen, to start the second half, as he shifted the ball to his unfavored left peg. It didn't really look like he had the purpose.
Nagbe fouled by Sonny.
Just impressive how Nagbe has ridden that tackle there. Didn't go to feet. Could get a glimpse of his balance as he looked to have picked up pace more than anything. Could have continued on.
Ridgewell picks out Valeri. Barmby. Oh, still Jack Barmby. He had a chance to hit it from distance, decided not to, and just couldn't get the ball out from under his feet in the box.
If he had it back again, I think Barmby would have hit it when he had sight of goal as the ball fell into him. Could have been a call of foul there. Referee plays on. Rightfully so, but the ball's nicely on Jack Barmby's left peg, and you think he would have had a lot of the goal to hit. Whether he saw the centre-back Schmidt coming towards him, thought then he could just chop it inside, but he didn't get that right touch to take it into his path.
So it's a few minutes before the 60th, but here is the wholesale shift change for the Portland Timbers. We will give you what we can as it's all sorted out. Certainly we knew the plan coming into today and wouldn't expect the red card to do much. Everybody's coming off the pitch except for Jack Barmby, who entered at halftime for Sebastian Blanco. So 9 changes from Caleb Porter in the 57th minute. In goal, it'll be Jeff Adanella. The back line, at left back will be Zarek Valentine. Renico Clark will be the center back. Jameer Ordain, who is a trialist, is paired with Clark in the middle. Chance Myers is the right back. There you see Dairon Esprit. He's on the right wing. Ben Zemanski and Amobi Akugo are in the center of the midfield. Jack Barmby is on the left wing. Jack McInerney is up top. So the one casualty of the red card for Diego Chara would be another attacking player. You would assume another winger, as the 2 defensive midfielders in Akugo and Zemanski are in the match.
But what Jack Barmby has done with that man down, and part of his natural tendencies is to come inside that pitch where he likes to combine, he likes to work inside areas. So where you have the 2 more holding center midfielders in Akugo and Ben Zemanski, you need that link with Jack McInerney up front, and I think that'll come through number 23, Jack Barmy, just drifting in, trying to get his foot in the ball in the center of the pitch.
As we look down on the formation right now, it's a 4-4-1 from the Timbers. But again, that certainly evolves as the play does, maybe more so down a man right now than normal. Salt Lake preparing its shift change as well. We expect 10 substitutions from Salt Lake. Everyone except Lalo Fernandez, the goalkeeper who came on at halftime. They have not made those subs yet. There's Jamir Ordain, the trialist. Back to Jeff Adanella, playing against his former team for the first time. Just a preseason match, but always interesting one way or the other, I think, when you go up against former teammates. Came over from Salt Lake in the offseason via Minnesota United. He was picked by Minnesota United in the expansion draft, but was not a member of that team for very long. Maybe ironically, Minnesota United also here at this tournament. The Timbers will play them on Sunday, so if Adanella sees time on Sunday, he'll play against both of his former teams in a 4-day span. Again, a 3-day span, that is. But again, Minnesota, he was only a member of that squad for about a week or so. And here's the substitution for Real Salt Lake. 10 changes for RSL. And again, as we sort them out and make sure that the changes made are the ones that were planned at the beginning of the match, we will get you their lineup for this half. Expected to be a mix of first-team players and players signed to Real Monarchs, which is the USL affiliate of Real Salt Lake, the equivalent of T2. Still a 4-2-3-1 for Real Salt Lake. Omar Holnitz.
In for Real Salt Lake, number 2, Tony Beltran. Number 4, David Horst. Number 29, Jose Hernandez. Number 13, Chad Barrett.
So here's the lineup from what we can tell for Salt Lake. Lalo Fernandez is in goal. The left back is Max Lakowecki. Center backs Emilio Orozco and David Horst. Right back Tony Beltran. Omar Holness and Luis Silva, the center midfielders. Well, that was the plan, but Nick Beasler's out there, the former Portland Timber. So Salt Lake has deviated from the plan as former Portland Timber Nick Beasler at center midfield. Daniel Haber is on the right. Jose Hernandez is in the middle. Ricardo Velasco is on the left. Chad Barrett is up top. Now, Nick Beasler playing against his former team, just like Jeff Adanella doing on the other side. This is Emilio Orozco, center back for Real Monarchs. Now Nick Beasler over the top. Onside is Daniel Haber, and he couldn't bring it down. Haber, another member of Real Monarchs, last year with Vancouver Whitecaps FC2, Vancouver's USL team.
It was a clever run by Haber as well, as he was pointing clearly to Nick Beasler where he wanted the ball as he was drifting inside the pitch, and it was provided by Beasler. Just needed Haber to bring it down out of the air.
Ordain steps forward. Akugo. Now Renico Clark. Valentine to Barmby. Akugo Tried to get it through Jose Hernandez. It's taken away by the 20-year-old. Homegrown signing from Real Salt Lake. Barmby comes back to win it for the Timbers. A lot of youth out there for Real Salt Lake. Should mention Nick Beasler for Timbers fans and maybe Salt Lake fans that didn't keep up with the offseason hot stove, so to speak, the transactions. A member of Real Monarchs, the USL team. Flag is up. Chad Barrett is offside. Beasler signed by Salt Lake's USL affiliate this offseason.
They're flying around RSL since the changes have come on, and you can bet that's the way it's going to be as players are looking to impress with the short time that they have. They become a little bit ragged at times, as is the case where players, youngsters, are looking to impress and they're trying to figure out their role, their position on the team. A couple of them look bright so far for RSL, particularly Hernandez, just him getting on the ball and looks to be playing that number 10 position.
He was the 2016 Pac-12 Co-Player of the Year, Jose Hernandez at UCLA. Spent just 2 seasons with the Bruins before signing a homegrown deal with Salt Lake. A member of their RSL Arizona Academy. One of 8 former RSL Academy players on the roster. Asprilla, he can hit it from distance, we know that, but couldn't create space for a shot. Three, I should say, of those former RSL Academy players on the pitch now. Ricardo Velasco and Lalo Fernandez, the other 2. We mentioned it earlier with the departure of Javier Morales, with Juan Manuel Martinez going back to Argentina. No more Olmes Garcia. There's spots, especially in the attack, there's depth spots for some of these young players. Velasco, Hernandez, Jordan Allen, who we saw in the first half, Sebastian Saucedo, who's away with the U20s, Brooks Lennon, who was just signed on loan from Liverpool but came up through the RSL Academy. There's an opportunity for those guys to make their way onto that depth chart, to make an impact on the first team at Salt Lake. Seemingly shown so much promise. Spria can't get there. Fernandez off his line for so many years when you look at kind of the pipeline that Salt Lake has had, but maybe it never really came to fruition. Barrett sending it back. Oh, Zemansky swung and missed. There's Holness! Oh, brilliant strike from the second-year Omar Holness, and it is 3-3.
That's an absolute thunderbolt of a strike from Holness. And what's so impressive about this is the technique and the way he gets around the ball as it comes out to him. Benzemanski, he whiffs on the ball, but Holness, the way he shifts his body around it to give his foot a more favorable chance of nice, clean contact. And as he just shifts around, he opens up his hips enough. And you can see exactly what he's intending to do is to put his foot right through it, to guide it right into that bottom left corner of Antonella's net.
Well, he's another guy. He's not a homegrown, but at just 22 years old, another young guy that's going to try to make his way to impactful minutes with the first team. The 5th overall pick in the 2016 Super Draft. Played in 9 matches, 3 starts last year for RSL. Had a very scary beginning to his professional career. In his first match as a pro, it was for Real Monarchs, the USL team. He was playing for them while a member of RSL. Suffered a seizure during the match. Was cleared by doctors afterwards, but also in the incident separated his shoulder falling to the ground, so he missed about 6 weeks. Played a lot with the USL side, Real Monarchs, last year. But this year, I know his goals certainly are to make an impact on the first team.
What a way to make an impression.
Yeah. That's how you do it, right?
And that's as clean as you can strike the ball. That technique was just perfect.
Barmby to serve. Ordain. Just wide. Well, another guy trying to make an impact, trying to make a team. Jamir Ordain on trial, putting that just wide.
Almost too much time to think about it for the centre back. As it pops up, Renico Clark does. Initially thought Renico Clark, but it was a nice ball set into the path of Ordain as he steps onto the ball and just needs to get that shot on target.
He's a defender. Center back can play outside back. We saw him at right back down in Tucson, so I can't imagine he is going to be judged based on that opportunity.
It's good vision by Okugo, rather. I thought initially it was Renico Clark, but Okugo just to nod it into his path.
Adanella off his line. Sure-handed. Zemansky turns around Nick Beasler, and it's off of Zemansky's former Timbers teammate. Valentin. Okugo. And nobody was making the run. He thought Barmby was cutting inside. Daniel Haber. Chad Barrett. Here's Holness. His goal in the 67th, knotted it up. Oh, Velasco blocked by Myers. Salt Lake up a man, certainly getting their opportunities in this second half.
Again, it was a good spot by Holness. The run by Velasco just coming inside the pitch. He just needed a bit more on that ball for Velasco to be able to take it towards the goal instead of having to turn back on himself.
Beltran to Haber. Back to the veteran Tony Beltran. Off the head of Myers, not out of danger yet. Second header from Myers, gets towards midfield. Spria takes it away for the Timbers.
It'll be so important for the Timbers just to hold on to the ball, even if you have to go all the way back to Antonella.
Chad Barrett. Barrett put it high. Barrett onto his 7th MLS team this season. 13th year, first one with Salt Lake, signed as a free agent.
A player trying to stick with the club, trying to get his career back on track, and from there as he's just driving across the edge of the 18, unable to steer it towards target. He was a player that first tested the VAR system in preseason when the referee had to go back and stayed with his decision to allow a penalty.
Barmby's onside, a beautiful back heel. Espria couldn't get there in time. Fernandez did just enough. The Salt Lake goalkeeper getting a touch to it, keeping it away from Espria. You mentioned the Chad Barrett penalty kick. Salt Lake, San Jose down in Tucson. The first time that VAR was used, that I should say the first time that an official replay was initiated. It was to check on a penalty kick decision. That decision was confirmed. So tonight we have, in the preseason, the first time a call has been determined clearly wrong, and that call has been reversed. Reversed maybe wrong terminology for this situation, is simply determined that the red card, violent conduct, was missed on the field, and that Diego Chara indeed deserved a red card. Video assistant refereeing, if you're tuning in now, is being tested out in the preseason. It will continue to be tested throughout the first half of the MLS regular season. As here's a look at our form of replay, another look at the opportunity created by the Timbers. But VAR will go into play. The plan is for it to be put into live action, 100% full go counting matches after the All-Star match in about August in MLS. It's being tested in 14 different competitions worldwide. Same format, same stipulations. That data will be collected from how it works in 2017 and 2018, and then a decision will be made by the IFAB, which is essentially the rules arm of FIFA. They're the ones who decide the rules of the game. A decision will be made after 2018 whether or not to implement VAR into the laws of the game, which means worldwide in leagues that would be standard. You would have video replay in professional soccer, in international soccer.
The big consideration was, does it interrupt the flow of the game, of the rhythm of the game, and the protocol, and the extent which you would expect the pro referee, you'd expect the considerations to be brought in to make sure that everything is looked after, so the protocol is strictly followed. And as we could see tonight with the decision on Diego Chara, that it didn't take a lot of time out of the game. Time usually spent with players covering around the referee and trying to argue with it. Is time spent with the referee can go over if the VAR determines that the referee should perhaps have a look.
Beasler tumbles to the turf, and a foul called on Ben Zemansky. Barrett turns, sends it wide. Dangerous chance from the Beaverton, Oregon native, Chad Barrett.
He did everything right except the finish. He's turned his defender Ordain well as he just spins out of his way, and from there really should be tucking that ball in. It's a couple chances now for Barrett to get his name on the score sheet.
Substitution that you just saw for Salt Lake. Andrew Brody came into the match. Daniel Haber came out. So a pair of Real Monarchs teammates swapping for each other. Haber got about 15 minutes. Brody will get 15 as well. Andrew Brody, another RSL Arizona product. Their academy, RSL, is in Casa Grande, Arizona, so it's referred to as the RSL Arizona Academy.
With the man up for RSL, even more incentive to go and press. With the ball back in the Timbers territory, and making it very difficult for the Timbers to get any sort of rhythm, any sort of sustained possession on the ball.
Timbers down a man because of a 41st minute Diego Chara red card that was given after a video review was initiated. An elbow to the face of Yura Movsisyan was determined to have occurred by the referee Soren Stoica after viewing the play on a monitor at pitch side. Violent conduct, the reason for the red card. Timbers trying to break. They've already scored 2 goals while playing down a man. Salt Lake have scored 2 while up a man. Asprilla gets around Hernandez. Leaves for Chance Myers. Big switch from Akugo, picks out Valentin with space. Ordain over the top looking for Barmby. He stayed onside. Leaves for Zemansky. It's so tough down a man. Timbers just don't have the numbers making runs forward. Nice flick from Barmby. Finds Valentin. McInerney. Oh, tried to juggle it over Orozco. He was unable to pull it off.
Just about could see the run of Zemansky coming off and just trying to lift the ball over the center back's head of RSL.
Akugo wins it in the midfield.
It's better from the Timbers here. Most promising of playing quality seems to come from Jack Barmby when he's getting on the ball.
Ordain sends it into the crowd. Jack Barmby, still just 22 years old, played last year with the Timbers, came over first on loan from Leicester City. He was signed outright by the Timbers in this offseason. Got 19 appearances in MLS play last year, 2 starts. And is part of what is really a very deep attacking core, especially on the wings for the Timbers. If you consider Darlington Nagbe and Sebastian Blanco the starters, as we saw today. Dairon Asprilla and Darren Maddox also in there, though Maddox, as we saw today, started at the 9 with Fernando Adi nursing a tight hamstring and held out clearly for precautionary reasons.
And what you find is all these players looking around with these new signings, wondering, well, where do I fit in? How do I fit in? When a position becomes available and opening and starting 11, I have to make sure that it's my name at the front of the manager's mind to get in there and get my opportunity.
Tony Beltran off Valentin. It's a corner kick. That kind of competition in training, having that pressure to win a spot, to keep a spot, what does that do for a team?
It heightens you. I think if you have the right characters, the ones who want to improve every single day, you have to have that competition in there, knowing if you have an off week, even if you have a little knock in it and you have to come out of the lineup, well, it's dangerous because somebody could be waiting right there to go and take your spot. If you have a definite 11 and you know there's a drop-off after it, then you can seem to go into easy street at times.
Beltran's cross is handled by Adanella. Well, it seems the Timbers will certainly have more of that competition in training. Caleb Porter has been outspoken about that in the preseason. He wants to get back to where they were in 2015. They made the run to MLS Cup. You'll remember in the postseason, in the final matches of that year, they were without Liam Ridgewell, Diego Chara for a game or two. They had to go deep. They had to go 15, 16 deep during that run, not just during the season, but during the final run to MLS Cup. Guys starting, guys contributing during that run, and they won MLS Cup partly because of that depth, and Caleb Porter attributes that depth as being a big part of why that team was so successful. He wants to get back there. He wouldn't go as far as saying that this team has that same exact level of depth, but he thinks that they are way closer than they were last year to getting back to that point.
Something that the league continues to look at, a salary cap league, where it's difficult to have that depth going all the way through to your 20th man on the team. You want to be able to pick a player out, and then the quality continues for the fans at home, for the clubs as well, to make sure that you're continuing to push when you drop outside. You're pushing in the table when you're dropping outside of year 11. And I think what the league will see this year is a lot of young talent coming into it, whereas MLS has carried the label in the past as perhaps being a retirement league for these top names across in Europe. I think it's shedding that quite well with all this young talent coming in. And yeah, Atlanta expansion team this year, amazing amount of talent and young, perhaps undiscovered to some, names that are be coming into the league this year.
Well, both of these teams tonight certainly examples of that with their designated player signings in the offseason. Salt Lake, a 22-year-old Albert Rusnak, who we saw play 60 minutes tonight at the number 10 role in the Timbers. Sebastian Blanco, 28 years old, in his prime. Played the first half for Portland.
I think Holness fancies himself here after scoring his delightful goal. It's as though he can have a dig.
He doesn't think the wall is 10 yards, I don't believe. Looks like he's going for goal. He tries it. It's well wide of net. Jack McInerney is shown a yellow card. That's the 5th yellow card of this match to go with a red. And hasn't had maybe your typical preseason friendliness this match. More of a regular season intensity at times. Certainly second half with Salt Lake up a man, it has been a little different than the first.
Just caught him late as Holness got rid of the ball by the time Jack McInerney came in.
Yellow card issued to Portland, number 99, Jack McInerney. McInerney with the caution card for the Timbers.
Salt Lake comes forward. Ricardo Velasco curling to the back post. Andrew Brody couldn't get there. Jeff Fadanella spent the last 4 seasons with Real Salt Lake. 29 matches, 28 starts, playing behind Nick Raimondo. As mentioned earlier, taken by Minnesota in the expansion draft, and then not very far after that expansion draft, traded to Portland. Barrett flicks it on to Hernandez, looking through for Velasco. Fadanella quick off his line. Timbers will make a substitution as Victor Arboleda will come on for the final minutes of this match. Jack Barmby comes off. Arboleda, a 20-year-old from Colombia, signed from T2 to the first team this offseason. 25 matches, 4 goals for T2 last year. Pacey winger.
With Arboleda, he was the one that fell victim to not getting as much playing time as he would have expected for tonight with the red card to Diego Chara. Plan being for him to start, or to come on rather, after 60 minutes after the first team, the first set of players had left the pitch. He's going to have to make do with his little time as he gets here, but he is one with real pace. We've seen him at the T2 level, one that likes to get the ball wide and run at defenders.
Certainly at the USL level, the speed, the pace of Victor Arboleda jumped out at you, jumped off the page. Will that translate to the MLS level? We'll begin to find out here in his first season signed to the first team. Andrew Brody can't keep it in play. McInerney was offside as he came back to receive. Soren Stoica waved it off. The assistant referee had his flag up, and the head official, Soren Stoica, waved him off. Allowed play to continue. Just over 10,000 in attendance here at Providence Park tonight. Samovi Akugo does a little juggling. 10,117 on a chilly weekday evening in Portland. It was pouring rain earlier. If you watched any of the Vancouver-Minnesota United match, well, they certainly did not get the luck when it came to the weather. Absolute downpour in that first half. But the rain has held off for this one. And it's been rather pleasant here at Providence Park. Velasco trying to slip in wholeness, or Dane just has to send it into touch.
I just think RSL the second half with the youngsters have put the ball into decent enough areas, of good runs, of buzzing about. Like showing Jeff Cassar plenty, even though it's been a little bit disjointed at times. They do have a man advantage, but you can see some young talent that Jeff Cassar will have to work with.
Chad Barrett. Will Salt Lake find a winner late? Holness already scored once from distance, but this one wide.
He's just trying to measure the strike as it fell to him, and just about a similar area to where he took his goal earlier. Just trying to curve the ball, going more for the precise spot in the goal rather than trying to blast it beyond Antonella.
Arboleda broken up by Salt Lake. Barrett fouled by Esprilla.
It's been a frustrating second half for the substitution of Portland Timbers coming in. Difficult to get on the ball. RSL, they've done well with their man advantage.
Hernandez serves into the box. Esprilla kept that from being a corner. As we wind down this preseason match, Timbers and Real Salt Lake. Second match of this Timbers-Portland's preseason tournament. First one between Vancouver and Minnesota earlier today. Both these teams will continue on Sunday with the Timbers taking on Minnesota United and Salt Lake taking on the Vancouver Whitecaps. And that's it. Well, it was certainly eventful. 3 goals apiece and a video review to boot. Portland and Salt Lake draw in their first match of the Timbers preseason tournament. Well, we will show you how this went down as Caleb Porter and Jeff Cassar shake hands. No shortage of moments in this match. We begin with the first goal in the 36th for the Timbers.
The Timbers on the front foot in the first half with what looks to be the best part of the starting 11, and Diego Valeri finished off the chance. But this was the big talking moment of the first half, is that elbow from Diego Chara. As Movsisyan just releases that ball, that trailing elbow, the thrust into Movsisyan is what the referee has reviewed and deemed it enough to send Diego Chara off.
VAR, video assistant refereeing, put into play, resulted in the red card to Diego Chara, and then the ensuing free kick from João Plata made it 1-1. But this just before halftime. Timbers down a man, and they get a penalty kick after a handball called on Jordan Allen. and it was Diego Valeri making it 2-1 at the break.
And rightfully so, the referee pointed to the spot. Diego Valeri making no mistake of it, but it was a terrible mistake by the center backs on that goal. And again, in this situation, as Maddox gets in between the two center backs, neither of them are able to clear the ball, and Max, he's able to punish.
So it was 3-1, but the first of 2 strikes from distance for Salt Lake. Luke Mulholland in the 54th, and then almost a carbon copy, it's Omar Holness in the 67th.
Nice clean technique, both from Mulholland and then from Holness here as the ball drops to them in a favorable position, and both of them make no mistake about it where that ball ends up.
So it's 3-3 the final here. Our first glimpse, Ross, at the Portland Timbers at Providence Park as they're set up in the 2017 season. Your impressions from this match tonight?
I think you would take the sample size of the first half, the first 40 minutes. Before that red card, before the sending off, I thought the Timbers looked good, particularly in the attack. The way Blanco was inserting himself, Nagby, his influence on the game. Diego Valeri was getting himself around the park. He looked sharp. So I thought you take that positive with the attack, and in terms of their shape defensively, the Timbers look sound.
Timbers' next match will be against Minnesota, as we mentioned, on Sunday. Salt Lake, meanwhile, plays Vancouver Whitecaps on Sunday. Timber Joey waits with 3 log slices for Diego Valeri. He'll get 2 of them, and Darren Maddox will get the 3rd. We're waiting on Caleb Porter. Samantha Yerrick is standing by at midfield, getting ready to talk to the Timbers head coach. As a little extra fitness put in by the guys who played just 30 minutes tonight. And now Samantha is ready with Caleb Porter, the head coach of the Portland Timbers. Sam?
Good. Thanks, guys. Caleb, first game action back at Providence Park in 2017. What did you think of this one tonight?
I thought it was an exciting preseason game for the fans, certainly. Thought we played extremely well up until the red card. Thought we played well after the red card. Anytime you score 2 goals down a man and you end up getting a point out of the game down a man for 45 minutes, I think you have to be pleased, but really, really pleased with those first 55 minutes. Obviously made a bunch of subs after that, and I thought they did pretty well, stayed organized, didn't create a ton of chances, but it's difficult down a man. So I thought overall it was a really good performance across the board.
Tonight we got to see Sebastian Blanco for the first time in game action with the group, and Darlington Nagby joined in with that first group in that first half. What did they both bring? How did they help complete this attack that you want to see this season?
I thought Blanco was great. He got a cross in from the right, a cross in from the left. A lot of moments where he kind of came inside and kept possession for us. He battled in the air, even though he's 5'7". He battled on the ground, defended, helped with our pressing. He's going to be a really nice addition, and I thought, like I said, that first half we looked really comfy. We looked comfy for being still 3 weeks into preseason. It's coming together.
So you're very excited, I take it.
Yeah, the group's coming together, no doubt. And I thought we were the better team until the red card, and I thought, honestly, we deserved to be up 3-2 when those guys went out of the game. So at 55 minutes, we're up 3-2, we win the game. So I'm pleased with that, and pleased that we still were able to get a point out of the game, even though we made 11 subs.
Thank you, as always, for your time, Caleb.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Guys?
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Caleb. A 3-3 draw between the Timbers and Salt Lake tonight. Next match for the Portland Timbers, Minnesota United FC, Sunday, 5 p.m. start right here at Providence Park, and you can watch it right here on Timbers.com. Well, for everybody here at Providence Park, for Ross Smith, for Samantha Yerrick, I'm Jake Sivan. Thank you so much for spending your Thursday evening with us. You had a good one. 6 total goals, a video review as well. The first ever call reversed because of a VAR in MLS play. And a 3-3 final. Timbers and Salt Lake with the draw. Good night from Portland.